Arizona's dry winter, what does it mean for the state's resources?
We're not in crisis, and we have to get people thinking about the long term, people thinking about investing for the long term and preparing so that we avoid that crisis.
Farmers and ranchers use the most water in the state, how their efforts affect the food supply from regional to national level.
We have enough ranchers in Arizona and beef production here. We feed over 4.5 million people just with the beef production in Arizona. That's a significant amount.
This is Arizona Week. Here in Arizona, there are an estimated 15,000 ranching and farming families. Agriculture in the state uses 70% of Arizona's water resources. Stefanie Smallhouse, Vice President of the Arizona Farm Bureau, thank you so much for your time.
No problem, thank you.
Let's talk about how agriculture tends to use the most water in the state of Arizona. You're a farmer, you're a rancher. Are you concerned about your use out here on your property?
Well, I think farmers and ranchers are always concerned about their use because it's something we have to manage. I guess the public doesn't generally realize or understand that it takes water to make food. So there's not really any other way we haven't figured out a way to make it differently. So we're always cognizant of how much we're using on our place. We've been here, this is our 6th generation with my kids. And so we have spent that entire time trying to be progressive and use technology to save water. So that's pretty much what we've been doing.
We're in a drought, but it could be said that Arizona is always in a drought because we're in the desert. How do you manage?
Well, you know, this isn't our first drought. When you've been here since 1884, we've seen at least 4 significant droughts in our written history, and you manage by planning ahead. We pretty much expect that at some point, you know, we're going to be in a drought or we're going to have a dry year. You know, we're growing things year-round every year, so we have to manage and plan every single year. So it's a part of life for us.
Do you worry about the water resources in the state impacting your ability to survive out here? And this is what you call a business for you.
Well, you know, I do worry about how people deal with the drought. You know, it doesn't do any good to fret about the drought being here because it is what it is. There's nothing that we can do about it. We can't make it rain. But what I worry about is how people will react to it. And if you make decisions based on fear instead of on facts, that's when that can have a real impact on us being able to produce food. Just like, you know, people in other parts of the state that are growing crops as well, is people tend to panic. And because agriculture uses a significant amount of water, we tend to have the fingers pointed at us first. And so I think it's just a matter of us taking the time and opportunity to let people understand, yeah, we use water, but we have to grow food. Arizona is a significant producer of food for the state and for the country, obviously. And so it's not just a matter of, oh, well, we can take the water away from the farmers and use it for the cities. You know, agriculture is not a water bank, we're a food source. So we have to continue to manage for the future and practice conservation. And I think if we continue to do that and we tell people that that's what we're doing and explain to them, you know, the actions that we're taking, then hopefully people will use that information to make good decisions.
What don't people, the average Arizonans, maybe know about what's going on with cattle ranching and farming in the state of Arizona? Is it a healthy picture right now? Is it in trouble?
No, I don't think it's in trouble at all. It's you know, we're in a very good condition right now. The beef market is doing well. You know, of course, things out of our control, like the weather, which is always the case, so you can't fret about that. You just have to manage through it. But in general, the agriculture industry in Arizona is very strong. And one of those reasons is because we have grown up, so to speak, as an industry in Arizona, planning for the worst and hoping for the best. And so that means when there's water shortages, you know, you look at the forethought of our ancestors that first came to Arizona in doing the CAP canal, you know, and thinking about groundwater supplies. You think in the 80s when everybody came together and really made a proactive approach to managing the water in Arizona. A lot of states haven't done that. And agriculture has been a big part of that, you know, as the primary private landholder and as a primary water user. And so I think because we're always proactive, we're going to be healthy as long as, people understand why we're doing what we're doing and how we do it. We have enough ranchers in Arizona and beef production here. We feed over 4.5 million people just with the beef production in Arizona. That's a significant amount. We produce enough cotton in Arizona to put a pair of pants on everybody in the United States. So to say, well, agriculture doesn't need the water, we need the water, well, you're affecting your food and fiber. People are perfectly fine with having everything in their living room made in another country. Your TV's from China, your table's from Taiwan, but when they open their refrigerator, they don't want their food to be from another country. And so, that's what I always try to explain to people is, we don't think a lot about our food in terms of, what it takes to support those people who are growing it. And one of those things is when you're talking about water, especially in Arizona, is we need to be part of the conversation. Farmers and ranchers need to be part of the conversation when it comes to water conservation and things like that. If we're not, then we won't be able to grow food.
Smallhouse says her ranch used to ship 4 loads of cattle every year, but because of the drought, they've reduced their shipments in half, as irrigating their 65,000 acres has presented a challenge. Stefanie, where does Carlink Ranch get its water from?
The majority of the water that we use is groundwater. We have a very old surface water right that we also use and that we've had since the 1880s, but the river has to be running for us to use that. So most of our water is pumped out of the ground.
So when it doesn't rain, do you worry or you get concerned?
Oh, sure. We just raced around to plant one of our fields right before that rainstorm hit a few days ago because we knew that we were going to get basically inexpensive water to come out of the sky. It costs money to pump it out of the ground. We watch our well fluctuations, and so we plan for that. We might change up a crop. We might fallow a field. But yeah, we're concerned. We have to have water, so any changes is a concern.
And how's the water distributed on this farm, on this ranch?
It's all through pipelines. We've got water every 2 miles on the range, which is important for range management because it means that the cattle move rapidly. They don't hang out in one spot too long. So we've got water every 2 miles on the ranch and up on the rangeland, and then down here, everything's piped.
And this is a center pivot we're standing nearby. This is what you hope is the long-term picture for the future.
Exactly. This pivot right here, we have converted probably about 350 acres to pivot right now. Earlier we were over by a side roll sprinkler. And so over the last 30 years, we've been transitioning to newer technology. This pivot right here is 90% efficient. And so basically what that means is that from the time we were flood irrigating, which was years ago, we're saving basically 60% more water. So to us, we're trying to show people, we're trying to be smart, and we need this to be around for a long time. So we're pretty careful with the water.
Speaking of the long-term picture, this Carlink Ranch has been here since 1870. You people are tough. You've managed to survive.
We're just stubborn. We're stubborn.
The hope is to keep moving forward, though.
Sure. everything we do out here is so that someday, we'll be sitting back a little bit and our kids will be doing, working out here and enjoying it. They'll be as passionate about it as we are. I have a 10-year-old and a 6-year-old, and my 10-year-old's already more passionate about it than, a lot of people I know that are in the business already. So, my ultimate goal is not to make her do this and not to make my son do it, but to make so that they want to do it. And if they see that we get reward out of this, whether it's just the lifestyle, and that makes them want to do it, then, that's going to make my husband and I happy.
Our neighbor to the west, California, is in an epic drought. Arizona monitors the Golden State's water resources because the two states share use of the Colorado River. Here now is Arizona Public Media's Vanessa Barchfield with the director of Arizona Water Resources, Michael Lacey.
Michael, thanks for taking the time to speak with us today. According to your department's strategic vision for water sustainability, Arizona isn't currently facing an immediate water crisis. I was wondering what you define as a crisis.
The vision was really a long-term look at supplies and demand. So there may be areas in the state that have short-term issues with drought impacting available supplies, but the vision is really a larger look at sort of more normal average conditions across the state. There are industries that are impacted. We're in our 14th year of drought conditions across the state. Some industries, the livestock industry, for example, and some wildlife uses have seen impacts from these drought conditions and are experiencing those today.
Is population growth outpacing water supply one of the state's most pressing water challenges?
It's not the most pressing water challenge, but it is something that we see on the horizon, and that's really what the vision was about, was looking at growth associated with continued economic development of the state, the supplies that are available to meet that, and we do see what we have characterized as an imbalance between available supplies and demands as we look into the future.
You mentioned economic growth. Do you think that water supply could potentially constrain economic growth going forward?
If we do nothing, we will, there are laws and rules that we manage that will actually constrain growth. Those constraints are already in place within our assured and adequate water supply rules. So our ability to continue to grow will require additional supplies being acquired.
And what do you see as some of those additional sources of water?
Arizona's been a leader in water conservation efforts, and we're recommending that those efforts continue and be increased as we move forward. We're also a leader in the reuse of reclaimed water, and as we look at the imbalances that we are projecting, we think we can cut those in half by an aggressive reclaimed water reuse program. But ultimately, we're looking at needing to bring in supplies from outside the state in order to continue to meet our demands, our projected demands, and we're looking at seawater desalination as what we think is the sort of what we characterize as the next bucket for Arizona.
Desalination is, of course, very pricey. Where do you see the funds coming from?
It is going to be an expensive supply, but as you look at the numbers in the greater scheme of things we spend money on, we don't think it's unaffordable, and we think that the growth that will be associated with it and the prosperity that will come from that will be more than sufficient to overcome those expenses.
You mentioned conservation as well. Do you expect that end users will feel the effects of more conservation measures in the coming years?
You know, the state's developed kind of a conservation ethic, and increasing those efforts will be necessary. We also may see short-term drought conditions resulting in reduced water deliveries, or the need to reduce water deliveries, both on the Colorado side and perhaps on the Salton Verde side, and conservation will be a big part of how we respond to those reduced deliveries.
Do you think that a toilet-to-tap project is inevitable for Arizona?
We think reuse of every drop of reclaimed water that we produce is going to be both an economically viable thing for us to do and will allow us to reduce the cost on the seawater desalination option, so we can import less water than might otherwise be necessary. But we also have direct potable reuse, which is a gentler way to say the toilet-to-tap alternative. We have put that on the table and are suggesting that we work on that.
You mentioned public perception. Recycled water is often actually cleaner than water from other sources. What do you think it's going to take to convince the public to accept it?
The key is going to be a focus on the quality of the supply that's being delivered, as opposed to what path it took to get to the tap.
To manage the drought, cities throughout the state have harvesting programs for their customers, programs that offer incentives. Here is Arizona Public Media's Alexandra Salazar.
Well, you can see I'm smiling right now. I love the garden. I get a tremendous amount of enjoyment out of gardening.
Some might say it's unusual, but not for John Camm. He's been harvesting rainwater for 3 years.
This is a 5,000-gallon tank. This, in terms of size, it's almost 12 feet in diameter. It's 7 feet tall. And we have in our house about 3,500 square feet of roof where I can capture the water. And what that translates is, for every inch of of rain that we have, I can put approximately 2,000 gallons into the cistern tank for every inch.
The retired accountant wants to see Tucsonans get more involved in water conservation.
I just, in short, I truly believe in water harvesting. I think it's the right thing to do. I would like to see our state, our counties, our governments, wherever they are, do more and more, create more and more incentives, and to try and have more and more people harvesting water. Much of our water just gets wasted. We get these heavy rains, it just goes down. Yes, a farmer possibly down the Santa Cruz River or whatever might get the benefit of it, but a lot of it just becomes a runoff, and nobody uses it.
Fernando Molina is the Public Information Officer for Tucson Water. He says Tucson will not have a water shortage anytime soon.
You know, Tucson Water has done a really good job looking to the future. And so we find ourselves today, in 2014, really benefiting from the planning that started 20 and 30 years ago. So we've developed adequate renewable water supplies well into the future. So we're using our Colorado River water.
Molina says much of Arizona gets its water from the Central Arizona Project.
That's a very important resource for us here, because using this renewable supply allows us to not pump our native groundwater. The other renewable supply that we have available here in Tucson is our recycled water or reclaimed water that we use primarily for irrigating parks, schools, golf courses, public right-of-ways.
Water experts say the Grand Canyon State is in good shape when it comes to water supply, but people should always try to conserve.
Drought will not affect customers here of Tucson Water like it might in other communities or like we're seeing in California. Once a shortage is declared on the Colorado River, that means that water levels have dropped in the lakes to a point where certain provisions have to kick in. That results in a shortage of water deliveries to Arizona. Internally within Arizona, there's a process set in place that prioritizes who gets those reductions in water use and when they get them.
For now, there are no major concerns.
Fortunately, municipalities, the cities, the urban areas have the highest priority water, so they will be the last ones to receive any cutbacks off of the CAP system. Today, because this is all new, we've never gone through this process, we anticipate it could be 10 to 20 years from the date a shortage is called on the Colorado River to the point where these shortages might impact the municipalities.
Like most major cities, Tucson offers rebates for customers who conserve water.
By and large, all of our rebate programs have been very successful. All of our programs. We still have very high attendance at all of our workshops that we offer for people. Our rebate programs are doing really well. I mean, everything from the toilet rebate programs to rainwater harvesting has been also very successful.
An ideal system for people such as Camm, who says every time it rains, all this makes it worthwhile.
Last Saturday night, we had rain during the day on Saturday. My wife and I were out, but when I came back in, and I'd already picked up about 20/100ths of an inch at that point, but then that night it woke me up. And I will tell you that that happens on occasion, particularly in the monsoon season, and you'll hear the water rolling through the gutters and rolling in. And yes, there's that little happy feeling that I'm capturing water and my garden's going to love it.
And the result is a desert garden in bloom. For Arizona Week, I'm Alexandra Salazar.
Just this week, city leaders in the northern Arizona community of Williams issued a level 4 water crisis and asked residents to conserve. Despite this early season warning, experts say the state is not in any immediate danger, but there may be concern for the future. Sharon Megdal, the director of the Water Resources Research Center, thanks so much for being here. Let's talk about Arizona's water situation. Where does Arizona get its water from?
Arizona gets its water from a few different sources. Groundwater is a very important source to Arizona. The Colorado River water, both along the western boundary of the state and through the Central Arizona Project. The Salt River system, other river systems, and then also through reuse.
There are some concerns about the lack of rain in Arizona. Can you describe maybe how climate actually plays a factor when it comes to the water in Arizona?
When we think about climate and water in Arizona, we have to think about it like almost anything water related on multiple dimensions. About 40% of the water used in Arizona now is coming from the Colorado River. And that water flow really depends upon the snowpack and the melt up in the northern part of the Colorado River basin. So that water availability depends upon weather conditions elsewhere. Then we have our more local conditions where we may rely on our own rainfall. The rainfall recharges aquifers, and that's very local. So when we look at the weather conditions and we look at changes in climate and this long-term drought, we have to remember not to look only at Tucson, but look at the broader region because we are dependent on the snow that falls in Colorado.
You say that Arizona is not in a water crisis, but as the population continues to increase, cities grow and expand, we may get to that point where we do need to be a little bit more aware of what's happening. What are some ways that the average person can do that? And you mentioned just watching your water use, but what do people need to know moving forward?
I think maybe the most important thing for the public would be to not take water for granted. Yes, it's expected to be clean, reliable, and come out of the tap. But start thinking about where does my water come from and all that goes into it so that we don't get into the crisis. And then we also understand that in certain cases we are depleting aquifers. We have water underground. It's been put there by systems over many, many, many years. And we're using it, and nature's not going to replace it so quickly. So I think people should think maybe, where's my water coming from? And if they think about that a little bit, maybe they'll stop and think that I can use a little less, I need to be more careful.
Is there a timeline of when we think we might get to that point where it's almost crisis mode, or, oh, we really do need to watch this because our sustainability is a problem?
I see it, and I think many see it, as the job of the water managers and the other decision makers in our state to avoid our getting to a crisis situation. And so that's why I think the water managers and people like me and others that are working on these issues, we want to get the public excited about it now so that we're not in that crisis stage. But if people read the paper, they know that a shortage could be declared on the Colorado River as soon as 2-3 years from now. That shortage declaration is not expected to affect cities. It will affect farmers and some other users, but it won't affect cities. But if things stay the way they are in the Colorado River for years and years, we're in a drought that's 14 years old now. We don't know when we will come out of it. We know how little precipitation we've gotten this year here, although the mountains in Colorado are doing pretty well. So we don't know if the Colorado River could get even in a worse situation. So I think that we all have to be educated about it. I think our water managers have to be, let's say, they're always honest. I think our water managers have to be upfront with the public. And there's just this balancing act. We don't have a crisis. We don't want to get you scared. We don't want to scare off development because we do great planning for our economic development, but we do have to plan for the future. And so it's this balancing act of getting people excited into action for the future without getting them alarmed.
Okay. We live in the desert. We have a healthy water situation then?
Right now we do have a healthy water situation. We've done good planning here, but we can't rest on our laurels.
And joining us to talk about the state legislature happening this week is Arizona Public Media's Christopher Conover. Christopher, some fireworks, not like what we've seen in previous weeks, but something pretty interesting.
There were some fireworks, and they were on the floor. We're used to Republicans and Democrats arguing on the floor. That's what they do. That's what they go up to do. Interesting this week, State Senator Al Melvin, who's also running for governor from Southern Arizona, sponsored a bill, got it through preliminary approval on the Senate floor. that would have prohibited the state from using the new Common Core education standards, which 4 years ago the state adopted and has actually begun implementing this school year. His argument at the time was, this is federal overreach, we can write standards better than the federal government, and the Senate voted to go ahead and advance that bill. The next day, that bill came back, and when it went up on the floor for a final vote, it was voted down. Republicans joined with Democrats and voted that bill down. It's very rare to see something voted down on the floor against the Senate president, who spoke in favor of it twice.
And we should be clear, this is the Arizona College and Career Ready Standards, which was known as Common Core, but that's really where the controversy sort of started, is the Common Core was a federal term, and maybe Senator Melvin didn't want that reference attached to the federal guidelines.
Very often we hear out of the Republicans in the legislature, they don't like the federal creep into things, and this was an example of that. During the initial debate on the floor, Senator Melvin was questioned by Senator Bradley, who is also from southern Arizona, a Democrat, about what he didn't like. Tell us what you don't like in the Common Core standards. And Senator Melvin didn't answer the question. When they asked for specifics, Senator Melvin told Senator Bradley to go find the problems himself, and just kept coming back to this is a federal overreach, the state of Arizona can do it better. That's what Senate President Biggs also argued. Despite that, it went down.
Okay, we could hear more about it later in the session, but I want to get to the abortion clinics. Talk about that.
There's a bill that is working through the legislature, the House has passed it, that allows snap or surprise inspections of abortion clinics in Arizona. According to the sponsors, those are the only medical facilities in the state that inspectors cannot just show up to at any time. The argument against it is that could be an invasion of a woman's privacy. It's passed the House. It most certainly will end up in court, assuming it becomes law, which would take the governor's signature. But this one will not go away if it gets to the governor's desk. And
as you mentioned, there is still opportunity to bring these issues right back up before the final gavel.
Absolutely. The Common Core could come back in the form of an amendment. Senator Melvin or somebody else could try and tack it on to another bill. Nothing is truly dead until the last moment of the session.
Okay, Christopher Conover, thank you so much for your analysis. And that does it for this edition of Arizona Week. Thank you so much for joining us. Be sure to join us again next week. For everyone here at Arizona Public Media, I'm Lorraine Rivera.